Hi, I'm Jeff Richardson and I'm the County Executive for Albemarle County Government. It's my pleasure to introduce to you 2020, a year in review, which will take an opportunity for Albemarle County Government to share with citizens a lot of the work that has taken place over this very challenging year, specifically related to COVID, the pandemic, and the responsibilities that our government has faced over the past year. In addition to that, I hope that you will also take an opportunity to notice some of the behind-the-scenes work, day-to-day operations that our county staff has continued to do in an effort to move this county forward. I'm very proud of our staff, and I'm very proud of the efforts that we've made to work with our community this year in a very meaningful way. I hope you like it. Thank you.
As you know, in 2020, the Board of Supervisors adopted community as the newest organizational value. And it states that we as an organization expect our staff to integrate equity, diversity, and inclusion into how we live our mission. This is not something that's totally new, because already in the mission, it states that our goal is to enhance the well-being and quality of life for all of Albemarle residents. And in order to actually live up to that mission, we have to take into account the diversity of our community and make sure we create inclusive policies and equitable services. So already this was an implicit expectation in our mission, but with this new value, we've made it explicit. And the power of that is now we can hold ourselves and the community can hold us accountable to make sure we live up to it.
The incident management team is structured in the public safety world, right, as a parallel organization to kind of help bring in the right resources to be able to address whatever the emergency needs are at the time. It has enabled us to both manage the emergency, the pandemic, and those decisions that had to be made through the pandemic, and also enabled us outside of the IMT structure to maintain the continuity of government operations.
We first established the COVID IMT in early March. We were one of the first localities in Virginia to actually lean into the planning and started early. We worked very hard to focus in on three main goals, and that's a goal to maintain continuity of county operations, with a focus on protecting our employees as well as the residents. So those guiding principles helped us to establish many objectives as we worked closely with the City of Charlottesville, the Department of Health, and the University of Virginia, and particularly the University of Virginia Medical Center.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Human Resources was forced to pivot and refocus our efforts on policies and programs as a result of issues that the pandemic brought into the workplace. The Pandemic Recognition Program was implemented as a response to our employees that were required to perform work but were at a greater risk for the COVID-19 exposure. The telework and alternative schedule policy was implemented due to the pandemic as we had to close our buildings and send our employees to work from home.
VOSH is basically Virginia's OSHA wing, and they put together a mandate about having training for employees. But what we decided to do in order to make sure everything was up to speed and really met all the requirements is we put together a video. It was about a 20-minute video that reviewed all the VOSH requirements and also went over a lot of the efforts that we had done as a county to keep employees safe. Infection control is always a part of a safety program. I'd say on a typical year, our infection control team has between 10 and 20 cases that we manage. This year, I think we're close to 700 at this point. So exponentially different than years past. We work with the health department. Here it's the Blue Ridge Health District, and we actually help talk to employees when they are either sick and have symptoms or they might be exposed, and we talk them through their situation. And so we help them if they need to get a test, or we help them to understand, yes, this is an exposure, and maybe no, this other situation is not an exposure. And then if indicated, we help them understand what it means to quarantine and what it means to isolate at home. And we are available 7 days a week. We are available on holidays. We answer the phone sometimes sometimes at midnight, sometimes at 4:30 in the morning, all day long. We try to be as available as we can.
Following a months-long community engagement process, the Board of Supervisors voted to remove the Confederate monument known as at Rebbe from Court Square. So many departments came together to pull this off. So many individuals went above and beyond to really create a community moment that was safe, engaging, inclusive, and ultimately effective in getting the job done. You know, a lot of work went into really adapting and overcoming the virtual environment that we found ourselves in due to the COVID-19 pandemic. If you were tuned in on the day of the removal, then you got to see a live stream of the actual removal that also included a lot of really great content from our community partners around the history of the monument.
And it was an emotional day too, and you didn't realize the kind of impact it would have on you to be part of something that's so historical and part of something that, you know, demonstrates to our community that justice is at work here.
This year we were faced with a pandemic and the incident management team, which has been running now for almost 260 some odd days, asked me to come in and build a program that would help our citizens and our businesses stay compliant with a new ordinance. And the compliance was about preventing the spread of the virus within our community. That was the whole gist. That continues to be the focus of the program. And we had to bring it online in 12 days. RMC Events was our third-party vendor. They had been working on an ambassador program for 5 years, one that trained their people in conflict management and mitigation. Eric Purdy in our organization had been working on an inspection app for our drainage infrastructure. And when we asked him, can you adapt this to a survey on businesses and compliance? He said, sure. When we needed a database of businesses, the Charlottesville and Albemarle County Visitors Bureau stepped up and said, hey, we've been working on one for 6 months. Would you like it? And we said, yes, because we can't do it without that. Every step of the way, like I said, someone had a piece to the puzzle.
So accreditation for police departments is much like a college or a high school even that are nationally accredited. It literally means that a commission from the state of Virginia accredit police departments to make sure that they are following the proper procedures, guidelines, and give transparency to the community. The commission sends assessors to the location. They literally come on site, they look at every policy that we have. We literally do a vehicle display, which they come out and look at all of our vehicles. They look at our evidence and property room, and they make sure that all of our stuff meets the standards that the state of Virginia has, you know, with regard to state code and even federal code. They do a ride-along, and during the ride-along, they will quiz the officer to make sure that they know what our policies and procedures are. So it's a very in-depth process. They look at what's called 190 proofs that they look at, 190, and you have to get them all right or you don't get reaccredited. So it is a huge deal to be reaccredited again, and we were just reaccredited this past fall, September, Albemarle County Police with our 6-1, so it's really a big deal.
The purpose of native landscapes is to increase biodiversity, improve ecosystem services, and to provide demonstration projects for the general public. There are different ways to consider success for these installations. The two that I'd like to highlight are when we are able to maintain these installations with long-term low costs that add aesthetics to our campus. And the other is to increase the variety of caterpillars, butterflies, and birds as people walk into work. Under our vision, we are contributing to healthy ecosystems. Under our values, these installations contribute to stewardship.
So the changes were designed to address the growing demand for fire and emergency medical services in the development area while using our personnel in the rural areas more effectively. So one of the items we implemented is cross-staffing, adding an ambulance to some of our stations so that one crew can staff an engine and ambulance and take the most effective vehicle based off the call type. We've already added career staff to Crozet Volunteer Fire Department. In the coming year, we will be expanding the ambulances, the daytime ambulances at Ivy and Pantops to 24/7 operations. We're also adding an ambulance to Stony Point in East Ravenna, and then we'll be adding a 2nd Battalion Chief to the county as well.
This year we've been busy. We've been able to accomplish a lot even in the midst of COVID. The HCV-90 is probably one of our biggest program pushes that we've been doing, which is an ongoing program that we've had for years. However, we've been expanding the number of local families that we've been able to provide subsidies to through our Housing Choice Voucher program. 90 new families are going to receive vouchers by the end of 2020. So that's 90 new families who can be in homes. Unfortunately, the fair market rates, which we base our subsidies off of, went down in heading into 2021, which basically means that our clients would be responsible for paying a larger portion of their rent. So the Office of Housing staff pushed for this, and we were able to move forward with increasing our payment standards in reaction to a decrease in the fair market rents. A little complicated, but at the end of the day, it's enabling us to keep serving individuals at the standard that they were receiving in the previous year, so that they were not, in the midst of the pandemic, experiencing an increase in their housing costs.
It really started out with one of the big projects this organization has been looking for, and that really is a brand new website. And so that's been over a year-long process. It's had a lot of different factors, a lot of different folks in different departments that have played a role with it. But I'm pretty proud of, I think, the new content management system that I think we have now. It's a new platform for us to build upon, and I think we have a more cohesive manner to maintain our website from not only now, but moving forward. I think we're gonna be pleased with where we go from the website from here. Some of the challenges that we had of why we needed a new website brought about the need for us to really look at what we do internally. So looking at what is our current intranet thus far, where do we want to go from here. What is it? It's inside Albemarle, same as it was before, but instead of thinking of it as one site, think of it as a network of sites. And then you have this connective network where we share information, whether it's based on department or whether based on our organization. It's one cohesive location where you can find content from any part of our organization. But I'm really pleased with where it's heading, and I think the potential that it gives us lying ahead.
Thank you for taking the opportunity to allow our staff to tell you some of the stories that we've been involved in over the past year. Now I'd like to, in closing, share some of the numbers that I hope you'll find impressive. We, over the past year, have been able to work with our employees to be able to process 7,000 information technology help desk tickets. In addition to that, we have allocated 300 laptops across our organization that enables our employees to work from home as well as in the office in a more nimble way to meet the needs of our citizens. We have answered 731 COVID infection calls inside of our organization as our employees have come in contact with COVID on a day-to-day basis. Over the past year, 1.99 million visitors have visited all of Albemarle County parks. Our parks have been open and accessible to our public, and our public has taken advantage of that. In addition, we have had 485,000 visitors to our website, our newly rolled out website, and we hope that if you haven't visited our website, please take an opportunity to do that. In addition to that, this past year, we have offered 255 virtual public meetings to Albemarle County citizens. And we're very proud of the fact that our open and transparent government has continued to move forward in this very, very trying time. In the area of public safety, we have responded to 14,750 fire rescue calls. We have responded to 60,000 police department calls, and in our Department of Social Services, we have responded to 1,545 protective service calls. Our public safety frontline employees have done an outstanding job. We have conducted 41,277 inspections, and we have had 797 interfaces with county businesses. In closing, it's been an unbelievable year. We have a phenomenal community that is very resilient, and we have an organization that continues to be prepared to serve our citizens and residents of this county. I could not be more proud of our organization. I wish you the best, and we all are excited about 2021. Thank you.